Day here on to you.
Good morning.
Everyone, thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
A quiet group. They all just nodded silently. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
because it's TV now and not radio.
Yeah, right. We integrated the TV with it. Now you can just make motion. So, Carl, let's talk the history of West Union Performing Arts Department. As I said, you're a longtime educator there, and now I guess kind of changed up roles in the last couple of years and
That's right.
service the district at large. So, West Union High School, this would be what number performance?
I'm thinking through, I think it's around 45 range, 46, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Yep.
45, 46.
After a while, they all run together.
Understandably, you yourself have been with West Union High School for,
Yeah, I've been teaching
that.
for 43 and been with West Union for 41.
which is crazy. So obviously, seem to enjoy it.
Oh, I have a blast. It keeps me young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As again, the TV, we've added that TV component.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about kind of the spring musical in general, kind of the concept way back to year one, first show you did. How did you guys decide, like, this is something we want to do and start to get some of the logistics in place to make that happen?
Well, Larry Tadlock and I started doing them together. And Larry and I were talking about, I told him I'd help him with Arsenic and Old Lace, was just a play. I said, but if I do that, next year we have to do a musical. And he is like, he was in musicals at Manchester, and so he was all gung-ho for that. So we ended up doing Bye Bye Birdie the first year. And we had a strong class. Chris Blanton was in that one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Jason Buda, the mayor here. And
Yeah.
I mean, we had quite a cast in there. And after that, they all graduated. And so then we did Sound and Music, and it was like, now what do we do? And I was like, well, I had to play the captain to try to teach the kids, because we did that when we had younger people that we were going to bring up through the years as the kids. And so that's what happened, and it just kind of started snowballing and going from there.
Yeah. So cast yourself as Captain Von Trapp. I mean, that's a pretty good role, I suppose.
Yeah, it was. We had no older people to do anything, and I mean, they were all younger, and it was just out of necessity. I didn't want to do that, but
Was that the last time that you've been cast in the show yourself, or have there been other appearances through the years?
I think in one of our shows. I've done other shows, but in one of our shows. And then I want to do King and I. And so I can go on stage without my shirt on and the whole bit. But I'd have to totally change my body shape for that to happen anymore.
Well, I would say Spanx, but if you're trying to go shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, throughout that history, you guys have done, dozens of different shows throughout the year. The Little Mermaid, this marks, I believe, the second time you guys are performing this throughout the, again, 45, 6 shows.
Yeah, our second time. And Dakota was in this when he was in high school.
Yeah, Dakota Ness, who's now
he's the choir director, and he's actually director of the musical this year. And so it's a good thing that he was there. He played Eric, the prince, and so he has seen it from the lead viewpoint, and he can relate. And I keep trying to get him to understand, though, you need to do it your way. Don't do it the way we did it the first time. Yeah.
Well, how much of that kind of informs, again, as you've done repeat shows, how much of how you did it the first time informs how you want to do it again, and how much of that is, hey, maybe we'd like to change this up, maybe take a little different view at this?
Yeah, we tried to switch it up.
Yeah.
For one thing, for just myself, it's boring to do the same thing again.
Understandably.
Yeah. So, and try to think of creatively how to make it work. And I think it's fun to sit back and think of some different ways. This year, technology has changed a lot in the last 10 years. So, we're doing a lot more with the water and with lighting and things like that. We got all new lights a couple years ago, and that has really changed how much easier it is from when you're in school. Brandon was in school having to go up and change all the gels and everything else. Now we just push a button.
And it goes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's introduce our cast here. We're going to go right on down the line. So if you want to start us off, your name and who you're going to be portraying in The Little Mermaid.
I'm Samson Strong, and I'll be playing Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid.
Okay, so no pressure. Just the male lead.
And say what grade you are, too, because
that's
that's
true.
important, because he's only a freshman.
Yeah, I'm in 9th grade, freshman at West Union High School.
Awesome.
I'm Miley Smith, and I'm a senior, and I'm going to be Ursula.
I'm Lydia Armstrong. I'm a sophomore, and I'm going to be Sebastian.
Awesome.
I'm Nathaniel Horsley. I'm a senior, and I'm going to be King Triton.
I'm Sadie Armstrong, and I'm a senior, and I'll be playing Ariel.
I'm Nina McCann. I'm a junior, and I'll be playing Scuttle.
Scuttle. All right. So got the full cast in with us, or at least a lot of the main roles, maybe a few here and there, but we'll start on down the line. So Samson, talk a little bit, as Schneider kind of alluded to. The director of the show, Dakota Ness, had your role 10 years ago. So what's that like for you, kind of taking cues from the guy that already did it?
I feel like it's definitely helpful to have somebody that has had their own experience in the role, but I think he's done a good job at not being controlling on that at all. He's let me do a lot of it on my own while still being able to help with songs and scenes, because he has that experience knowing what they did before. It's helpful for sure.
Awesome. Miley,
Can I just put on that real quick? Okay, I just want to say on him, he's only a freshman, but his experience level isn't just as a freshman. He had a lead last year. He has acted over in Shawnee's shows over there.
Awesome.
So, and he was recruited for only a couple weeks before
Yeah,
he
it
had
was
to
like-
play
it was like a
main
week or
role over
two.
there. And so he has got the experience and has quite a great singing voice. And so I expect a lot of good things in the future from him.
yeah, so building up expectations early, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Miley, for you, playing a villainous role, natural fit, or have you had to work for that a little bit?
I've definitely had to work for that. I don't feel like a villain in real life, so I
Schneider?
have to work at it. Schneider tells me to be more evil, like
Okay.
every day. He says, be more evil.
I tried to tell her to watch all the Disney evil characters,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
villains, and because she just tries to be too nice. And
Well,
can't get that
yeah.
evil laugh. We're still working on that.
Every day, it just comes a little farther. I get a little better with the evil thing every day. Like, it helps when I put on my costume. It makes me feel more evil.
Sure, yeah,
I
yeah.
get into character. But yeah, I'm working on it. I've never had to play an evil role before, so this is my first and last time.
Right, yeah. But being a senior, you've obviously gone through this process a few times.
Yeah.
But different take on it.
Yeah.
Don't say last time.
Well, last time, like,
So we may do
in high school.
alumni shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, see, there's still a chance. Yeah. Moving on down the line, let's talk to our Sebastian, whom I'm assuming, kind of similar to what Miley was talking about, getting just the vibe of a character who obviously, notably, has a very strong Jamaican accent.
Yes.
How long did it take for you to kind of feel comfortable with delivering lines in an accent that's completely different from your own?
Well, my friend AJ's mom is Jamaican,
Oh,
so
wow.
I kind of just hung around her. She was over a few times, and I took a little bit of notes, and I kind of just, Samson does a really good Jamaican accent. So I kind of just listen for people, and there's keywords. Instead of ER, it's and
Yeah.
vowels are longer. It's just practice, I guess.
Yeah. So you've broken down like the whole phonics to how to speak with an accent. Starting like with day one going in, did you has this been a process of perfecting it as you've perfected the script, or did you start with the accent and go from there?
The beginning, I would say first getting the lines down, probably not as well. But as I go on, I start realizing, oh, maybe I should switch that, and that would make the line better. And then watching from the Disney film,
Yeah.
yeah, I love the Disney film of it, and it does it really well. So I kind of just I know those lines from the movie.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah.
makes it nice to have a good reference point.
Yeah.
Also have to ask, speaking with an accent and singing with an accent are two very different things. So
Yeah.
take us through the prep for the, obviously, like, you're singing the biggest number from the musical. So
Yeah.
Under the Sea, a bit iconic. How long has it taken you to feel comfortable with that?
The accent kind of came later. I had to learn the song mostly. I go off of the Broadway, the rendition of Under the Sea from Broadway. Very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. And I take from that, and he really does have a really good Jamaican accent. So taking from that and singing it, but I feel a lot more comfortable singing than saying Jamaican accents.
Sure.
So if that is anything.
Yeah.
It's added another whole twist for her also is we deal so much with diction. Now you have to deal with the diction through a Jamaican accent too, and trying to get to understand. Sure, she can get the accent, but if we can't understand it, it doesn't mean anything either.
Right. When it's a lot different speaking person to person, but when you're enunciating to an entire full room of people, that's tough. And I would have to imagine that's a challenge, regardless, to get kids to that point. You know, obviously you've got a little more experience with some of the main cast members, but from the early days on stage, some of those first speaking roles and lines, it is really hard to understand just how succinct you have to be with all your pronunciation, how you have to project to the audience. So how do you guys tackle that? Going through all of these,
Torture.
all the prep without the audience there to kind of gauge, right?
Yeah, it is hard. Right now, like our Mer sisters are all pretty much first time on stage people, and they're young, and trying to get them to understand how to project and get it to the back of the room, and they just don't get it. They'll speak fine, then they go to sing. All of a sudden, it's down like this,
Yeah.
and it's like it's no different than speaking. And that's been a challenge. And the other problem is kids don't understand. You have to speak enough for the mic to pick you up.
Right.
And
yeah, like we talked, the technology changes. Like I'm sure the microphones have gotten more and more advanced over those 40-some shows, but at the same point, you still have to have volume to go into those mics.
Right. And so we have a huge cast of young ones. There's like 30, 35
Wow.
with the fish and all that. Best cast, if any of their parents are listening, best cast of young ones we've ever had for their acting, their singing, and most importantly for me, their behavior. And when you put that many there, I never have to really get on them at all. I've never had the feeling like, oh my gosh, we can't do another young show again because they're driving crazy. No, these kids have been really into what they're doing, and they're singing out,
Sure,
and having fun acting. And anytime we want to increase them into another scene for something, they're all going nuts. And then there was one day that we were missing Ariel for a track meet, and Miley was filling in a lot, and then one time no one jumped up there, and then Miley jumped up there. I said, all you young people, I said, here's your chance to audition for the future.
Yeah.
All of a sudden these fifth graders are like, oh yeah, we'll go do it. And so, they're eager.
Yeah.
And that's so great to work with when you don't have to, drag them along.
Sure. And year to year, show to show, I would have to imagine that support cast really changes a lot. Like you said, this year, very, very large cast. You have to fill out all of those sea creature roles. And again, the sisters for Ariel, you've got all of the extras for kind of the background characters on land. So how do you balance that out to say, a year where it might be a much more trimmed down show, you're having trouble filling roles for, your experienced kids, to a show like this where you're having to add, 30 some extra actors is there a casting call process, or how's that work?
It's very difficult. We have to take a look at what our personnel is, and then kind of go from there. And also ticket sales.
Sure.
What is happening from year to year? Are we in a situation where we need to have more income coming in? This
Well,
show,
yeah, granted, the more kids you have, the more parents usually will show up.
This show, the rights to this was $3,700.
Oh, wow.
So, in order to do this show, we knew we were going to have a big cast to do it. So ever since COVID, the prices have just jacked way up.
Right.
So, when last year the rights weren't quite as much. This year, being a Disney show and all that, it's a lot more expensive to put together. And so that's another big key factor into it. Hate to say that, but money does come into play once in a while.
Sure.
And then we look at what's down there, and with my wife there teaching the elementary, she can tell us, hey, you've got a really good bunch of young people here to work with coming up. And so that helps in the decision also. And she was right. These kids can sing.
That's awesome.
And, they don't have microphones. And when we're doing the big scenes, we're just using the hanging mics, and they are heard. And when I hear them coming through the audience, they're singing like crazy. I'm like, wow, we have got a great crew over the next few years if we can keep them of what we can do.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, hopefully, the longevity of the program, that says a lot for it going forward. So,
and then you get people here like Nathaniel. This is his first show.
Really? Okay.
And he's a senior. So we were kind of wondering when we were picking this show, who is going to be King Triton? Because you can't have someone that's at 5'7", weighing 120 pounds being
no
King
offense,
Triton.
Samson. You don't fit the role quite that much. Yeah.
And we mentioned to him about doing it, and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, that was easy."
So it didn't take much convincing to be like, yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah. It didn't take much convincing to do anything. I was really dragged into the performing arts this year. Joined a lot of things. Yeah, they just asked me. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah. So what made that decision for you? Finally you're in senior year. You're like, yeah, I'm going to jump into as many things as I can.
Well, I mean, I'm not here for long. I might as well make the most of it. I mean, I might as well have fun while I'm here instead of moping around doing nothing.
Yeah. Good life lesson for just about anybody. Tell us a little about your character and preparing for that. I mean, obviously you're around the same age as everybody else. How do you portray someone who is, this much older, much wiser, authoritative figure?
A lot of yelling.
So just modeled after Snyder, then.
Yeah, just being very stern when I talk, very diction,
Yeah.
Keep it like formal, I guess, is the only way to do it.
Okay.
One of the big things for his role was posture.
Yeah.
Trying to get that posture, and I've been on him quite a bit, that he can't just kind of waddle on stage with it. He's got to have his shoulders back, head up, being proud of who he is. He's supposed to be, reflective of Poseidon and things like that. So.
Right. Yeah, very interesting. So let's take me through like getting the full costume. Does that help to complete like that mentality of, hey, I am the king of the sea here?
Yeah, my posture is way better when I'm wearing the costume. I don't know what it does it, but it just immediately I sit right up. I'm fine. And it's a lot better when I feel a lot better in the costume, I should say.
Okay, good deal. Let's swing over to our Scuttle. We'll skip the Little Mermaid for a moment, but Scuttle, obviously kind of a comic relief character. Did that lend itself well to your natural personality, or has that been a stretch?
It's kind of a mixture of both, because it depends on who I'm around. Like if I'm around my friends, or especially in the performing arts, I have the tendency just to be whatever and just be goofy and more like doing anything. And like if I'm in classes, it's like I don't really feel like doing it, but it's like, especially when I'm in costume, it helps a lot, like being silly and just getting into the natural flow of goofiness and making up words that I don't even realize are spelt wrong in the script.
So it's been a natural fit then, is what you're saying. You just slid right into the role.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
And when we were going through the casting process, I think she's a very funny person, and I mean that in a good way.
Nice. Yeah.
And she's creative, and she isn't afraid to do things when you ask her to do it. And that role takes a special person to be able to do that role.
Sure.
And her and her mom are creative too, and I just love the costume they came up with. And I won't spoil it, but she's got her tail doing some really fun things with the show. And I think it was by accident it happened, but it's been fantastic, and it works for her. And so when we look at that, and we're looking as everyone's coming in, because that isn't the part she wanted, but we're at the same point looking like, who can pull this part off? Because it's such a great role.
Yeah.
It may not be as big a role, but there's solo singing in it, there's dancing in it, there's comedy in it, and there's seriousness in it too. And so it had to take someone that could pull that off.
Fantastic. Well, sounds like you have kind of leaned in on both the silly and serious side at the same time. So that's great. Last but not least, in our going through kind of our initial discussion here, the Little Mermaid herself. Talk a little about taking over what is, a very iconic role, someone that I'm sure probably you yourself admired as Princess Ariel growing up. What's that like for you to kind of step into the role of a Disney princess?
It's been a bit nerve-wracking, but also exciting, because I know there's going to be so many little girls who are going to come up to you. Actually, there already has been. We went to this choir thing all together, and because Dakota had introduced what role each of us were going to play, and he said that I was going to be Ariel. And later, this little girl comes up to me, and she's like, "You're Ariel?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "I just wanted to say hi. My name's like Gracie," I think she said. And it was so adorable. I was like, I can't wait for that part of it. That's going to be fun. But yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking because you are like, the iconic character. So.
Well, I think your role is an interesting one because Ariel is obviously very well known for her voice specifically for two reasons. A, she sings, she's kind of that iconic siren of the sea, as mermaid. But at the same time, for half the show, you lose your voice entirely. So talk a little about that balance of having to make sure your singing's on point for when you have it, and then also kind of the other side of that and miming half the show.
Yeah, for parts of it, we actually have Miley singing the Oz because we couldn't exactly figure out the recording and stuff like that. Gotcha. But as for not having a voice, it has been difficult because I have to really focus on my facial expressions and how I'm reacting to everything. Because at first I was like, oh, this that's going to be the easiest part of it, but in some ways it's actually more difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess how do you make sure that you're acting big enough, right? Because the people all the way in the back still have to see all of those little interactions that you're having to do simply with your face. It's not, they can't hear you. It's not projecting with your voice. It's projecting with your face.
Yeah, I have to react pretty big. Yeah. He sometimes gets on me for it. He's like, "You got to be bigger." Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Iconic songs for The Little Mermaid, part of your world, right? It's a big deal. How long did it take you to feel comfortable with that?
A lot of singing in the shower.
Yeah. Well, perfect place for it, in the water, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, my siblings they don't like to listen to the song anymore. It'll turn on in the car and they're like, "Turn it off, skip it," because I sing it so much. But yeah, it's taken a while.
Are you guys a Disney family?
Yeah.
So, is it daunting, right, at all to step in and this is something I've grown up with. This is a character I'm very familiar with, or did that make it easier?
I think that made it almost easier because I watched the movie so much as a kid. So I already kind of knew how to switch it into a Disney princess type voice. Sure. And kind of move a little bit like she does type thing.
Well, we've talked about costumes. How do you guys get around the fact that you're merm people with tails? How does that work exactly?
We debated what exactly to do with the costume, but there's this lady at my church who is a seamstress, and she did really well at doing the costume to where it's like comfortable to where I move, it won't like, go out of place. And the fin, it looks really cool because she added like this type of material that's really shiny. So like in the lights, it shimmers a lot. So
That's awesome.
And her mom, Mandy Armstrong, has headed up all the costumes.
Oh, okay.
For all the people, and a lot of the kids had fun doing their own, and we were worried they were going to come in like little Halloween costumes, but they didn't. They have come in with some fantastic costumes.
Yeah.
And I think to answer your question with the mermaid stuff, the costume doesn't have that big long mermaid tail to it. It goes down to their feet.
Okay.
And so the bottom where they walk is a little tighter, but it gives that look of the mermaid tail there, but it's through their feet.
Sure. So you're still able to walk around.
Yes.
We're not like skateboarding people across the stage or
Right,
something. Okay.
right.
That seems kind of dangerous.
Actually.
Actually?
One
Okay.
exception.
Our flounder has Heelys.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that adds for a really cool effect when
Yeah.
you can see this little like ditzy fish like zooming around the stage. It's pretty great.
She's been
That's
working
awesome.
on that Healy talent for a while because she used to have Heelys when she was younger, and she would roll around the house everywhere.
Wow.
And yeah.
That is one of the most Gen Z, Gen Alpha things I've ever heard. Right. Practiced with my Heelys for my High School Musical. So, well,
Can't wait
with
to do
that,
Starlight Express in the future, and where
Yeah.
everyone's on roller skates.
yeah, maybe they're
go.
living in the future. With that, folks, we're going to take a quick break here on our 10 a.m. community show. Again, The Little Mermaid with West Union Performing Arts Department opens Friday night, 7 p.m. at West Union High School. Tickets, I believe, are $10 for adults, $7 for seniors and students. They'll have shows this Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m., next Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m., and next Sunday, May the 4th at 3 p.m. We'll be back to talk a little more about The Little Mermaid at West Union Performing Arts Department coming up after this here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV, presented by CMT Components.
We are the keepers of the wild. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving the natural landscapes that define our nation. Nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters. Together with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. So get out there and enjoy.
Your plan is ready. It's time to build. At CMT Components, we design and manufacture quality building materials for your custom job. If you need metal panels and trim, trusses, or even a complete pole barn package, we do it all, including delivering right to your job site. To get started, call us at 937-446-3400. You can also check us out online or stop by our office in Sardinia, Ohio to discuss your plans today. Let's get building.
You may have heard that the American Legion helps honor our fallen heroes.
Or that the American Legion helped write the GI Bill, enabling veterans to get a college education.
And yeah, you've heard us tell a good story or two.
But did you know that the American Legion does so much more for our veterans?
From advocacy on Capitol Hill to serving others in our communities, the American Legion continues its tradition of strengthening America through service.
Learn more about supporting veterans in your community by visiting legion.org.
Welcome back, folks, to our 10 a.m. community show here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. As we welcome in the West Union Performing Arts Department, they're presenting The Little Mermaid coming up this Friday and Saturday and next Friday and Saturday at West Union High School. We have Carl Schneider and the cast joining us today. And Carl, we talked a little through all of the cast and some of the logistics of getting everybody on the same page, kind of going through that process. It is not something that happens overnight to get everybody kind of working through the script, working through the songs, to go into blocking, then you go into actually, producing everything and running through the show. All told, how long is that process from kind of you guys making the decision of what the show's going to be, going through that audition process to making it to stage and then opening weekend?
For the most part, it's about a year. Some cases we kind of know actually 2 and 3 years out.
Sure.
When you're looking at the personnel of what you think you may be doing. But usually from the part of picking a show, and then people don't understand, we have to study that show for quite a bit ourselves to get to a point to get to the auditions. And then trying to pick material that is going to showcase, whether we pick out of the show itself or pick other stuff that I think sometimes the students don't understand. We have picked this for a certain reason to see how many, if we give them 4 options of a monologue, there's one that we really want to see them do, but we won't tell them that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they all avoid it, we know they don't want to work hard. So then they're not going to get certain roles. So if they all pick the easiest ones, well, we know then they're not going to be driven.
Well, there you go, guys. You know the secret sauce now.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are certain things there that we pick in the process that tells us a lot on who walks in with certain things.
Well, and King Triton, as you said, for example, your young man portraying a pretty big role in the show was someone that had never done stage musicals with you before. How do you prepare for maybe that expectancy that someone's going to kind of show up and maybe shine a little brighter or a little differently than what you expected?
So this may sound different, but we cannot help them. So to help them prepare for it, they're on their own.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to come in and work really hard with him and get him prepared the way we want to see the audition. Now they can go out to someone, they could call you up and you could work with them.
Don't call me. I never auditioned well.
And that's fine, but it's the we won't work with them.
Sure.
So it's what they're doing in class, and what's happening in choir class and other things that are they applying those things?
Yeah.
Are they straining their voice? Are they, matching pitch? Are they using facial expressions? And I will say that this group of people is one of the strongest auditions that we've had. And it isn't just the people sitting here. It went down very deep in people that have never been in the show. We've got a set of twins that are in the Murr sisters that came in and auditioned. They were homeschooled. They're in school now. And they came in and very nervous when they started, but they're really starting to blossom and coming into it now. And so it's been nice to see that we've got some young people and inexperienced people wanting to be involved. But so right around November, we give out the audition material and do that right before Christmas break.
Mm-hmm.
So they have about a month with the material, and they have to do monologues, they have to do singing, and they have to prepare it with motions and actions. And if people come in there and just stand and sing a song, ding, move on to the next one. And so we really expect them to put a show on for us.
Right. Their own little mini production.
Right. And when we go to Performing Arts Camp, we have a night of skit night on Thursday. And I think that prepares them a lot for doing this, because as through the time went by at skit night, it's become a big deal. And they get some pretty creative things going on. And I think that helps lead into the audition process. And then then is basically getting the scripts into their hands and starting the first month that they have it, they're starting to read through it, memorize it, and things like that. We don't pound it really hard because I don't want to burn them out.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect them to come in prepared. Dakota expects them, Aaron expects them to come in prepared when we do start. And I like to have them off the script in just a couple of weeks. Some are successful, some are not.
Yeah, well.
and they don't understand. We know exactly how hard you have worked at that.
Right.
And with all of us having experience on stage before, we know what it takes to memorize that stuff and be able to do that. And so when they come in and we're 3 or 4 weeks into it and they still have to use a script, I know 100% they haven't done anything. And it's not hard to figure that out.
That didn't happen with this cast, though.
Some.
No, okay.
So you know, it shows real hard.
Sure.
But then we remember all that for the future.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I always tell them they're in an 8-year audition.
From
And
day
when
one.
we start having them back in like 5th grade and things like that, they're auditioning. Those young ones right now are auditioning. And as they get through and they start getting big parts, whether they're handling it, not handling it, how are their emotions handling it, I can't put people in lead roles if their emotions can't handle it.
Sure. Well, Samson, let's talk first with you then. Being a freshman, right, coming in with some experience under your belt, but take us through that audition process of like your prep to, again, kind of step in solo and try to put your best foot forward to get the role you wanted.
Well, I think a lot of it is, I think picking the monologue, for me, at least in my experience, has been pretty easy. I like to pick the fun ones because I think they're the ones I can give the most character to. And I think that's a part of it with the songs, too. This year, we had, for dudes, at least, for men, my bad. Our songs were chosen for us. We had Scuttle's song and we had Under the Sea, and it's just a snippet from both. But I think it's less about nailing the songs spot on. It's about giving that effort, giving that character to it, so you can show that even if that's not the character you're going for or you want, that you can put character forward in any place that they put you.
Yeah. Miley, we've got to ask, did you audition for the role of Ursula, or was this you auditioned for Ariel, or how did that work?
So originally when I heard we were doing this show, I wanted Ariel. And then I had several people say to me, like, Ariel is not as fun as Ursula. But I still wanted Ariel for a while. But I got to a point where I was like, okay, I would be okay with Ursula. I think I'd have fun with it. I would like it. So for a while leading up to the audition, I was just like, either one. Either one is okay. I went on to the audition and I said Ariel because I was just like, go big or go home. And I was okay, like, when I got Ursula. Like, I was happy still.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a heartbreak for me.
Okay, so
but,
you were good either way.
Yeah.
The same preparation for both, right? If you're auditioning.
Yeah. Well, so for my songs, we had more choices than the guys did. We could do Poor Unfortunate Souls, Part of Your World, or Scuttle's Song, or Under the Sea. So I, of course, did Poor Unfortunate Souls and Part of Your World. So I tried to be Ariel in Part of Your World and be Ursula in Poor Unfortunate Souls. And for the monologue, I read through them. I think we had 2 options. Is that right? 2 options. And I read through each of them, and I picked the one that I thought I could act the most with, like the one I could do the most, like motions and facial expressions and things like that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, just on that too, you know, when I look at what the kids come in and audition, if you're going to do Rodgers and Hammerstein, every lead girl is exactly the same.
Yeah.
If you do Disney, every lead girl is exactly the same. So say you get a lead girl as a sophomore. Now all of a sudden you're going to do the shows the next 2 years. You never change. I had that happen with a freshman girl, got a lead once, and then she was so head and shoulders above everyone else, but she played the same role every year just as a different character.
Sure.
And so I told her going in her senior year she was not going to be the lead because I wanted her to play something different and expand herself. And that's the thing. It's every Disney lead is the same for the girls. Every Roger and the Hammerstein is the same basic character. And you know yourself, when you're in, you did such a great job as the clock. And we tried to do that totally different as a watch, instead of as the
Like a
iconic-
desk clock, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that added so much. I mean, people think, oh, I've got to be the Beast or whatever. No, those three characters right there are incredible characters.
Right.
And then another one I remember you in was when we did Little Abner, and you were
I was
junior high or something,
right.
And you were this kid, and I remember you and Dean having these beards on, sitting at the corner there, and it was just so much fun to watch you in that role. And I knew at that point that I wanted to do something with you as you came up through.
Well,
because
thank you.
Because you did a great job as a character role at a young age.
Well, I think for in my memory, I was always the just the comic or side character, and that sometimes that fits
Yes.
well. As you said, sometimes kids can you want to kind of stretch those muscles and try something a little different.
Well,
so
like I said earlier, I've never been a villain before.
Yeah.
Whereas Sadie last year, she was a villain in School of Rock. She was Patty, who was, the mean girlfriend. So I think I see what they did here. Like, I'm playing something different. Sadie's playing something different.
You just
it's a different,
flip-flopped.
yeah, it's a different experience for both of us.
I definitely had to get used to that. Yeah, because I've been like the evil girlfriend
Yeah.
in like both of those musicals.
Yeah.
Oh God.
well, then again, kind of going back to what Carl was talking about, Sadie, is going into that audition process. Did you have it in your head like, okay, this is the kind of role I've had twice over. Ursula's probably where I'm going to land, so this is what I'm going to prep
Well,
for.
I also knew like my type of voice, and I mean, yeah, I guess I tried on both because I wasn't sure, just like Miley wasn't exactly sure, so I did my best on both. But yeah, I don't know. I figured my voice suited more of the Ariel type sound, so I kind of went more towards that.
Sure.
I will say Ursula, in the Broadway version, has a higher, like her songs are in higher key, but I came to find in the high school versions, her songs are really low. And I have had kind of trouble with that. I think Sadie would have had trouble with that too. So it worked out because I can sing pretty low. I can't sing super high very well. So it worked out with my voice being Ursula.
It's almost as if you knew what you were doing, Carl.
Yep.
I want to talk about Flounder and I'm sorry, not Flounder. Scuttle and Sebastian. There we go. Kind of gender bent roles in a bit of ways, and I'm sure the show is kind of set up in that part can be filled either way. So again, kind of going back to Under the Sea being one of the most iconic Disney songs of all time, obviously is sang by a man in almost all iterations. What's that been like for you adjusting to singing it as a young lady?
It was a little complicated at first. Every time I sang it, it was either too high, too low. I worked with a little bit with Dakota, and we found like a middle range where my voice wouldn't be dead by the end. So honestly, it's gone pretty well. It's gone pretty well. I've seen a few females do the Sebastian role before in other high schools, and it's been pretty good.
That's good. All right. So you're fine with it at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm
Work through
good.
the challenges. I do have to ask Carl on that because this obviously isn't the first time that that's happened where you've kind of had to necessitate, again, via personnel or just, trying something a little different. How much do you guys as a staff, between yourself, Dakota Ness and Aaron Van Pelt and Nancy Schneider, how much do you guys have to work together to kind of go through and adjust the music to help fit those vocal ranges a little better?
Yeah, that really is a situation at times. And, today you can push a button on the piano and transpose it. That only works for the piano. It doesn't work for the trumpet and everyone else, you know?
Right.
So we have to really try to figure out how this is going to work. And that goes all the way back in the audition process, too, is we have some good heated discussions during the audition process about where we think people will fit best.
Sure.
And that is part of it. How much are we going to have to change music to have people into certain roles? And the kids don't understand that. When they're sitting on the other side of the table someday and they hear that, I think they may start realizing, oh, there's a lot more into the thought process of who gets what roles than just come in and go, okay, yeah, there's Ariel. It doesn't
Right.
work quite that way. But the part of Sebastian has been very difficult that way because of a man playing it.
Sure.
And then the range has been difficult, and she has done a good job, and Dakota's done a good job of switching notes out here to make it work. And, Scuttle's got the same thing with the whole weird accent thing going on,
Right.
too.
Right. I guess, at least in the Disney version, Scuttle doesn't have a song, so maybe tempered expectations for that. But nonetheless, still the challenge there of kind of adjusting everything to work for your voice and your delivery.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of Ursula songs, they're in different keys. So the high school version is in a different key than the Broadway version and pretty much any other version. So when I got the role, I started looking at different songs or different recordings of the songs. And I only found one high school version that was decent enough. And we weren't able to get our music till a lot later. So when I got and it was also a guy playing the role.
Oh,
so I also had to jump octaves here and there, and it was very weird. And then once we got the music, it turned out that he was singing like a lot of different notes that weren't how it's supposed to be, which made it even weirder for the octave jumps.
You've just had a tough time of it.
Yeah, it's been a emotional roller coaster.
Oh, well, you're almost through it, right? You've just about made it.
And another part with that role is hard is that the costume makes it awkward to
Sure.
do. There's a big dance thing in it.
Yeah.
And how good is a seagull supposed to be at dancing? And I try to get her to understand that's part of the comic relief. And we had a discussion yesterday about her step size. And she's dancing on a 4-foot wide platform and only has that much with fall on both ways. And I told her, I go, don't worry about moving so much. The last thing we want you to do is fall, especially with the awkward feet and everything you have. That's not my concern. Make it funny in what you're doing. Don't worry about trying to make it look incredible.
Right.
Because that isn't part of the character. But she's supposed to make it look better than what Ariel is, because Ariel's got new feet and can't dance. So that's supposed to be the play back and forth. But at the same time, have to think creatively how to make it happen in a small space.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about some of the costuming, some of the different set dressing and set design. You guys are blessed at West Union. You have quite an army of volunteers, parents, and staff members, and different people who not only are involved this year, but have been involved for years and years. To coming back to kind of lend their talents to the show.
Yeah, Julie Saunders is headed up, taking care of all the set design again. And it's always hard with West Union hosting the all-county because you really can't get started much on sets until after that is over.
Right, which is always like the early, like first or second week of April, so you're cutting close.
Yeah, so then Easter fell this year, so weird that we had to put dress rehearsal a whole week earlier because we were off for so many days and a crucial time for us for the play. So she had a very short time, about 3 weeks, to try to put things together. And Julie is retired, and she comes in and she's there at 7:30 in the morning and leaves at 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And she works the whole time and has a crew of people that help her that just kind of rotate in whenever the period happens that they can help out. And Tristan Newman is taking the part of stage captain. So she's in charge of all that during the play. And she's a student, and this is her second year, I believe, doing that. So she understands what needs to happen. And then we have our lighting and sound people have experience too, but they're training new people, and there's quite a crew there of about 7-8 people that are doing it. And Parker Spires, we just bought a new board, which maybe was a mistake, but I don't think it was, just a few weeks before the show started, and it's very complicated.
Maybe the timing more than
right.
anything,
So
right?
so he's had to learn doing that, but he's done a fantastic job because
Yeah.
it's made it so much easier. And Brandon helped with that whole process, and appreciate that. And then Hunter Davis has done our sound for years, and he's graduating, so he's working on getting some younger people trained to take over. And that's the big thing about the program. We always try to think down the road who is going to go over, so we don't have to train all new at the same time.
Right.
We have new people ready to step in and keep the continuity going.
Well, and if I may, that is the really, like, just as impressive as it is you have, all student led actors on stage. At least like 90% of everything behind the scenes is student led and run as well,
Yeah,
which is
the
incredible.
stage manager is new this year.
Yeah.
And so she will run the whole show, make all the calls, lighting cues, sound cues, everything. She's doing a really good job. She's had a big learning curve with it. She's starting to feel comfortable now.
Sure.
And then Aaron Van Pelt heads up the pit orchestra. And we have quite a few people down in there, 9 or so, 10, something like that down in there.
It's a pretty cramped space.
And it's tight. Yeah, there's some of them are underneath the platforms and can't even see what's going on. And then, of course, my wife does all the rehearsal accompanying, and then has all the lead parts of the pit orchestra.
Yeah.
And we could not do it without her. And Dakota's been directing it, and the same thing is, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut at times, but I have to realize that he's the director, and so we don't see eye to eye always on certain things, but it's a learning process, and It's like, I've went through this once before, Dakota. I know it's not going to work, but he goes, "You got to let me fail."
Yeah.
And so it's hard.
That's gotta be
sometimes.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what I was going to say there.
Well,
I forgot. but then the administration has always been really good, supportive of everything that we do, and letting the kids get out of class when we need to do the school shows and things like that, and kind of taking over the cafeteria. And I mean, we do take it over.
It is
for
a
2 weeks.
cafetorium, so
Right.
you just really lean into the auditorium
Right.
part. Yeah.
So all of that's been fantastic, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving people out. The concessions. It's got a huge crew of people that are doing that, and actually we have schools coming over this year to see how all of the concessions.
Oh wow!
Amanda Newman is heading that up this year. And they're coming over to learn from us how to do it and make it bigger, because they're shocked at how much money we make off of concessions.
Sure.
But people actually come to eat supper there. They have a
dinner
really good
and a
job.
show. Right.
Yep.
That's good. Well, before we wrap up, just a few last things. First, let's just remind folks, it's at West Union High School. That's this Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. show times, and then next Friday and Saturday, again at 7. Then next Sunday, the 4th, is a 3:00 matinee, if I remember correctly, right? So,
Right.
5 shows. By the time that 5th show rolls around, and again, that's outside of all of the full show dress rehearsals, you do, the show for the students to, just as, again, another dress rehearsal, have a small audience there.
Yeah.
So once that's all said and done, once Sunday rolls around, like, what is the sigh of relief for you, and then for the kids as well?
Oh, there is none, because we have our concerts coming right up the next day. The banquet, the graduation. We have a performance
you really
after
picked
school.
a dead time of year to decide to do a huge production.
It's I mean, there is no sigh for a couple more weeks, but you do have withdrawal.
Yeah.
Because you're spending so much time, and actually, I mean, I'm always excited about if I could start a community production or something right there and ready to go for end of May, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I love doing them. So I'm I think the kids are probably needing more break. They're probably tired.
Yeah, we have maybe a little by the end.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go down the line before we wrap up. Give everybody an opportunity. We'll start again with Samson to maybe favorite part of this show in particular for you.
For me, I'd say it's almost just the people around me. This cast is a really great cast. My buddy Shane, all our buddy Shane, he's our chef this year. So going into that second act and having all these scenes where I get to interact individually with each character, being able to watch like people like him really like come out in their element and do all this like really great character acting and making it big, and just knowing that like people are going to eat that up.
Yeah.
It's great seeing everybody else be able to have that like success. It really brings me up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it, is just watching everybody have fun and hearing all these, how people bring these songs into their own and their lines, and watching everything build that's my favorite part.
That's awesome. Well, that was a really good answer. Everybody else, good luck. Miley, for you, as you said, senior year, even though Carl says you're going to continue to do stuff for forever, but, senior year, kind of last big show, what's it meant to you to be in this role and have the opportunity?
Well, one thing, I've had a few of my lasts already, like my senior night and stuff like that. And none of it's really made me emotional, but I know that when this is over, this is going to be the one thing this year that like is really going to hurt, is leaving this, because this has been like my life since, I saw my sister do all of it, and now I'm doing it all. And one of my favorite things about this year, like Samson said, is the people. Like, these are my friends, and I'm having so much fun being in this production with all my friends, and I feel like a lot of us are really supportive of each other. It feels really great to come off stage and people be like, yeah, that was really good, you did a really good job. And it feels great watching my friends do a really great job and they get to come off stage. I'm like, yeah, that was really good. Like, I love that. I love the people this year and how we're all supportive of each other. Yeah. And that's great for my last year. Like, I really love that.
That's awesome. Sadie, we'll go to you again. Kind of, we talked a little earlier about getting to be kind of an icon Disney princess. What has that meant for you? And again, some of the interactions you've already had with some of the young people out there, expanding that out to kind of your time spent with the cast, the younger cast, getting to be that, that person in the lead role that they're looking up to.
Been really great, because for them it's almost, as much as they do see me like off stage and on stage, they do almost still see me as like that character.
Yeah.
And it's really nice being able to interact with them and help them out when they need help. And to, honestly, I learn a lot from them. Like some of the scenes, like there's this one scene with a bunch of competition. It's the competition with the different princesses singing different voices type thing. And it's these elementary girls acting, and they are hilarious. And I'm off stage just almost bawling laughing, because I find it so great, because they're such great little actors, and I'm honestly learning from them. And I think it's been a really great experience. And like they said, getting to be around such a great cast and to be able to do this has been really great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, folks, that's about all the time we have here for our 10 a.m. community show. But just wanted to encourage you again to get your tickets. The Little Mermaid with West Union Performing Arts Department opens this Friday at West Union High School. Showtime set for 7 p.m. this Friday and Saturday. Doors will open at 6, so get your tickets. You can purchase those in advance. $10 for adults, $7 for seniors and students. They will still have seats at the door, but advanced seating is available and is recommended so that you can kind of get your seat, know where you're going, and get settled in. Definitely, as Carl alluded to, show up hungry with a little extra pocket cash for the concession stand. So, West Union High School Performing Arts Department, The Little Mermaid, this Friday and Saturday, and next weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at West Union High School. That'll do it for our 10 a.m. community show for today. Again, this is C103 and Good Guys Radio TV, presented by CMT Components. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in. Rewatch this video and many more on demand at goodguysradiotv.com.